Oh, fantastic. Fantastic.
Awesome. How are you, Mr. Kenny?
I'm okay. And you?
I'm really blessed, really blessed. It's a great
Great.
Friday, so we thank God.
I'm glad to be talking to you today.
My
Wow.
pleasure. My pleasure.
How's
So
Abuja?
Abuja is great. We thank God. We thank God. There's still the whole political conversation going on everywhere,
Yeah. My God. See, I have hardly spoken to anyone about the Buhaha in Nigeria for some time. I've just left that topic of discussion because it's a little bit controversial of some kind. I want to see how it goes. Probably to the courts, okay, and see the direction that our legal system would decide to go.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm happy to see you. All right.
Pleasure. Yes.
So, Itofa, see,
yes.
It's for me. I like to start this way. You tell my audience who you are and what you do. All right.
All right. So we're starting straight up immediately.
See, we've already started. Everything we are talking about is going to go on the podcast. Yeah.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you very much, Mr. Kenny. First of all, it's a great honor and great pleasure to be able to be on your podcast. I feel really blessed and doing incredible work yourself. Being able to highlight these global conversations about Africa. It means a lot that you would add your voice to it, even though you're far away in the United Kingdom. So thank you on behalf of all of us. Thank you. For people who probably haven't heard about me before, never heard my name before, my name is Itofa. Originally born in Edo State, and started my early years in Edo State, Nigeria, and then eventually moved into the city of Abuja when I was like 6 years old with my family. And since then, I've lived all of my life here, growing up. Growing up as a child, I was one of those kids who I was never born into opulence. So I was not one of those children whose parents could afford cartoons, whose parents you could watch TV. I didn't even have that type of luxury or privilege. Early on in my journey, my mom said to me one time, I think I was around 14, 15 years. So she said, "Itofa, do you know that our financial state at that time was so terrible that we couldn't afford to buy you a baby food as a child?"
Wow.
So that puts in context what my upbringing or my childhood was like. And even there were days in my high school days when I would go to school, and because my parents were owing tuition, would get kicked out of school and would come back home because we couldn't afford for a season in my life. But all of those experiences were built up for the things that I currently do now. Looking back in hindsight, they say hindsight is 2020. Yes. Looking back in hindsight now, I needed to go through those experiences to be able to understand what it means like to have over 12 million children in Nigeria not in school, to have over 2.7 million IDPs who are going hungry every day. I have a deep understanding because I have been there. It's not the statistics that I'm doing. So that's my story. And I'm the founder of Church on the Street and my Nigeria Food Bank. And we have one simple mission. We want to build a utopic Nigeria where every child will have access to education, especially girls, and also ensure a world where no family would ever have to go to bed hungry. So we're tackling food insecurity. We're increasing access to education for girls across Nigeria. We're also advocating for rehabilitation and also encouraging like families in the ITP camps, connecting them back into society to the work that we do. And this is the summary of my life. I'm passionate. It's my life. I love my job. It's an incredible privilege to serve my country.
Wow. Itofa, thank you very much. Talking about education, I've seen several of your videos where you go to school and you are singing with the kids and all that. I'm very passionate about education myself. Okay, my parents were educators, both my father and my mother, and I started my own journey. I did my NYSC teaching. Okay, so many of us have been there. Now you mentioned two things. Let's start. You mentioned that at one time you were kicked out of school because you couldn't pay the tuition. Okay,
Yes.
that's one. And the second thing is that you are passionate about education, especially of girls. Okay, so
Yes.
this is the question I'll ask you. See, for me, I don't know why our country has not funded education to make sure that at least everybody in that country has the minimum of 12 years of schooling. Okay, at least. See, for me, I take this primary, secondary school education. I think it should be a right for everybody. Now, if parents want their children to go to private school, that's a good option for them. Okay, but at least for the general public,
Yes.
they should be able to have state-funded primary, secondary school. Now, when it comes to university, I want to tell you, even though I was fortunate to have free state-funded university,
Wow.
but I know that it doesn't really work, and we have seen it in Nigeria. Okay, our universities are always on strike. Okay, now that's it. That's one. The second one is that about girls. Okay, I'm I'm a father of three girls. Okay, so I'm an only son with two sisters, so I know what it means about girls going to school. But I'm I used to think about that, giving preferential treatment for girls to go to school. Okay, right now I don't think I want to go that way. I would rather give everybody the opportunity. I won't give any special treatment to one side of the other. So yeah, take it away. Let's talk about that. What's your
Okay,
view?
awesome. I really love your reservation, Mr. Ken. I really love your reservation with going to we should give everybody education. I'm passionate about doing that. But the reason we give priority to girls, especially with the work that I currently do, is because we've seen, I don't know if you've read the recent statistics from UNICEF, there are currently over 22 million child brides in Nigeria.
Okay.
Child brides. These child brides are girls.
Yeah.
They are girls.
Yeah.
So as we speak in 2023, there are families who believe in Northwest and North Central, who believe, even in the North, who believe that girls should rather get married than get any type of education. So how do we intercept that? First of all, we start by creating some sort of re-education to the parents that, look, girls are equal to boys. Your boy shouldn't be able to go to farm, get an education, get a type of money to start his life. Why the only thing the girl is condemned for is marriage.
Yeah.
So the reason we're prioritizing, and that's why that's why even the framework, why even in leadership, you check the administrative level of Nigeria as a country on its own. How many women are in power? How many women are in leadership, in the executive, in the judiciary? How many of them are there? Why? Because somewhere we still unconsciously are running with the programming that girls are second fiddles. So the reason why education is important, and it's especially we should begin to give girls these priorities, the fact that when you educate a girl, what you're doing is that you're educating a whole community. Girls have such an incredible ripple power effect that when you educate her, you look at families where you have educated mothers and you have educated father. It's different from homes where you have both parents not educated, or one maybe just the father educated. There's an impact you feel in that type of family. Let's take, for instance, somebody like Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. Great work she's done. She's been able to do incredible work with her. But when you read her biography, both her parents were professors.
Yeah.
Both her parents were professors. So you can see that education is very important. So back to the question, I still believe that everybody should get an opportunity, but until we get it right in Nigeria, where we know that girls should get equal opportunity, then I'm okay with us saying boys and girls, or boys should get education, girls should get education. Or if we continue the conversation of saying, you know what, let's that, then the second part of the question you asked, Mr. Akene, where you asked about Nigeria, what's happening, why are we not funding education? Honestly, I think it goes back to show the type of leaders that we have as a country. We have leaders who run for public offices without having any strategic plan or any strategic framework to especially lead change and lead impact in the country. So people who come to power and they've spent $1 billion to get into office, until they recoup their money back, nothing concerns the government. So we need to start looking at frameworks on policies. Okay, how do we affect policy, create policy where, look, if you're coming to power, you're coming to serve the people. Well, you're coming to serve the people. Let's take all these incentives where you have to get like 5 Prado Jeeps, you're earning like 6 million naira, you are getting housing allowance, all these incentives. Let's remove it and let the people who are going to get into public office will be people who genuinely care about solving a problem. I think if we start from that level, we'll be leading a change. And then finally, let's continue to encourage people like myself. I'm just one Nigeria out of the many people who are doing incredible stuff in Nigeria, who are already moving some type of needle in the community. As I speak to you, we've currently served over 8,000 people. We've been able to give access to education, food relief, rehabilitation, that we've done in the space of 4 years without any support from the government, without any external grants. Imagine what we can do if we have the support from government and maybe, and all that. So that's just what I'm going to advocate for.
Okay. I mostly agree with you. Okay. Mostly. Okay. Like I said, I'm a father of 3 daughters.
Yes.
And a brother to 2 sisters. Okay. Both of my parents were teachers. Okay. And I were fortunate enough that my parents were able to educate me and my sisters, 3 of us to master's degree level. Okay. So in my family, there is no discrimination. All right. And that's what I want for everyone. No discrimination. See, in the West, okay, what is going on right now is that more girls are in school more than boys. See, so why I'm not want to advocate to give special treatment to girls over boys is that somehow that special treatment has been done in the West, and that right now they are seeing the negative impact. Okay, they are seeing the negative impact. So for me, I talk about this all the time, that because Africa is behind in development, that we're fortunate that we can see all those in front of us. We can see the mistakes they have made. And it is good for us to learn from those, not to make the same mistakes. So yes, I'm all about everyone should be educated.
Yes.
Okay. At least 12 years of schooling. After that, everyone can decide, every family can decide what next for them. Okay. But at least 12 years of schooling for everyone. In fact, it should be compulsory so that parents cannot keep their children at home or keep their daughters at home while they send their girls, their sons to school. Okay. It will be 12 years of schooling should be compulsory for all citizens. Okay. But then for me, because I see the impact of girls going further. Okay, I see the society impact, okay, of girls going further in education than boys. See the big impact. The impact is huge in the West. Okay, and it's affecting everything. So I don't want us to suffer the same consequence later, maybe in 2 generations.
Yeah.
So that's my own. Okay. So I think we need to take heed of this, of what the countries who are further in development, and see what they've done, the impact, the consequences, and make sure it doesn't happen to us. But yes, you guys are doing a great job, okay? And that's why you're here, okay? That's why you're here. So I hope you just, all this few things I just talked about, maybe you might do some research on it and see how you can moderate what you do, and how, so that you can get the best impact for all the people you're working with. Yeah. That's my point. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr.
Great. So you are into non-profit, okay, to help non-profit organizations, okay.
Yes.
And you mentioned that your upbringing and the things that happened to you, your family at that time, all led you to this place. So tell us more about that. Give us the stories.
Yeah.
See, I like stories.
Amazing. I've got like a couple up my sleeve. In 2016,
yeah,
I think it was for 2014, I had just finished high school in Nigeria, and it was now time to go to university. My dream was to become a medical doctor, because I just wanted to be a doctor. Dr. Itofa. I'm going to marry a beautiful woman. I'll become a medical doctor. I'll be driving a white Mercedes Benz. I had all these things planned in my head, but then it happened that I kept writing the joint admission matriculation board exam, which is called JAM.
Yeah.
Yes, I wrote it the first time. I didn't get the cutoff
the grade you needed. Yep.
Yes, I wrote it the second time. I didn't get it. But I was bent on going to do medicine. I was really bent on going to do medicine. And one day my dad sat me down with my mom, and he said to me, Itofa, a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush. And then he said to me, look, just go to the University of Benin, take the same grades you have, apply to the University of Benin, and go and study. I was like, no. Well, I said, you know what, let me just try it. Applied for it, and and I got what's it called? They gave me education. They gave me an admission to come and study education at the University of Benin. I was very devastated, because the narratology I held about teachers was that, teachers in Nigeria are broke people. They'll be wearing one pair of shoes. Their shoe that have bent once. I said, no, that cannot be my story at all. I'm not going to end up becoming a teacher, so my dad said to me again, Itofa, a bird in hand is worth 2 in the bush, and said, go and make the most out of what you want to do at the University of Benin. When you come out of that place, if you want to go and do medicine again, you are free, but you have a degree. And he said something to me that in hindsight now, it's true. Your first degree is only a leveler. Your first degree is only, even if you read Yoruba, French, whatever you read, your first degree is only a leveler. And so I went in, so when I entered the first year, I was still very dissatisfied. A part of me still wanted to go back to do medicine. So when I see other medical students, first year medical students, God. So I had inferiority complex. I just believe that these guys were better than me. They had, oh my goodness, they were better than me. I was them reading their texts. I say, no, this dream, I'm going to, so I would go and try to work out to get transfer from medicine, so that I could transfer from education to medicine. Again, it never worked. Until my second year in the University of Benin, I was studying psychology, and we were preparing for a bachelor exam around this time. And mind you, before I even started doing non-profit on a very structured level, I come from a home where my parents are very altruistic people. my parents I would see right in front of my very eyes every Christmas. They would give things to people. I mean, we had gone from, struggling to God blessing us as a family. I would see them blessing people. I would see them doing things for people. And, it was something so when I got into uni, I just had this day in my head at a time. We deal I have a dream that one day I'll feed nations, one day I'll build schools for children. I just had this dream and passion. On this fateful night, second year, 12 a.m., pharmacy building, University of Benin, sometime in March, April, my friend Yvonne Ogo said to me, Tofa, what if we go to an orphanage home? The minute she said that to me, something leapt on my inside. Now, because I don't know if you know about midnight class, midnight reading. We used to go to class to read
I went to University of Benin. I know all about that.
Great night class. So night class. We used to go to night class every night. In that night class, she said, I could not read again. I was so excited. It felt like somebody had opened me up to a whole new vista of possibility. I said, wait, as undergraduates in this campus, you mean we can actually go and touch orphanage? We could go to orphanage homes. I said, hey, let's do it. At that time, I had just read a book by Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he talked about the importance of having so many bank accounts. He said that you can build wealth. And I'm like, okay, I went to open a GT bank account, free advertisement. And I think after like 6 months, I was only able to save 4,000 naira in that account. And that's why every time I tell the story, I tell people that, look, we started church on the streets with 4,000 naira. All the money I had in that bank account, I said, look, I'm going to invest into this project. So I mopped up my account, took all the 4,000 naira. Now, mind you, I didn't start off with the premise of building an organization or becoming this guy who was going to become a philanthropist or helping people out. No. The idea was, look, we'll go to this orphanage home, a one-time thing, we'll do it, and that'll be the end of it. So we were all putting our energies, we were talking to our friends, our families, our colleagues in class. Some people believed us, some people did not believe us. Long story short, after 2 months of trying to fundraise, we raised, I think, about 76,000 naira for the orphanage home. And we went there, bought like bags of rice, we bought like groceries, cereals. People are giving us clothes, stationaries. We got like just stuff we know the kids will need, toys and everything. And we took it to the camp. I'm a Christian. I'm a man of faith.
Yeah, of course. That's why you have your charity, church in the street. Yes.
Right on that day, the 16th of June, 2018, God said to me, Itofa, every single person who latches on to church on the street, it will become a stage for them. Now, mind you, we're in 200 level. We didn't know what we're doing. I was even studying a course I hated. What do you mean? And, God began to tell us things that he was going to do with us. I just laughed. I said, look, after I've done this thing, I'm going back to my life. Like, I've done this charity work. But then right from that point on, we couldn't stop, even when we wanted to stop. After that project, we had people who had heard about it. They wrote a check of 250,000, gave it to the orphanage home. We had people who came to us and said, look, they're about to throw them out of the University of Benin. They can't pay school fees. We started fundraising for them. We secured their admission. They were able to stay. And it just kept going and going and going and going and going. And for some reason, it's just been going. And that's how, a couple of, look, we have to structure this thing. We have to register with CAC. We have to have a proper bank account. Like, we have to become a proper organization. That's how we started. And from that point on, from the 16th of June 2018, we've never had a cause. I've never had a cause to look back to regret this journey that I'm on. And that word God said to me, look, young man, this thing will change your life literally. In fact, when we're going to start the work, I told a few family friends, and they say, look, young man, look, Itofa. We know you are passionate. We know you want to inspire the world, but listen to me. Can't you hear the name non-profit? Where's the profit inside? Your mates are starting businesses. You say you want to do non-profit. I say, yes, sir, it's non-profit I want to do. I say, go and think about it again, But I can look back and say very well that it really pays to be a platform where people's life can be changed. Really, just to be able to inspire people, not just even the people who are reaching directly, people who see us and are inspired by it to want to go back and lead change. It's been an incredible journey. So that's how I found myself in non-profit. And that's how last 4 years I've been on this job. It's been my life. Every day I breathe, live church on the street and my Nigeria food bank, and it's been an incredible journey.
Wow. Itofa, see me smiling. See, I'm glad you had your kind of parents. Okay. And I'm happy you listened to your dad and took up that course you didn't like. Okay. And like I tell people, uh, we create our purpose. Okay. A friend told you, let's do this. Something in you said yes. Okay. And you got excited. Okay. Maybe God made it, gave you that excitement, but you took it up. All right. Let me ask you, are you still, you're still young, okay? Like when we talked, yeah, you're still
Yeah.
very young.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back to study medicine today?
Even if I get a full-blown scholarship, I'm not going to take it.
Okay. Because you have found your purpose.
Yes.
Okay. And that's why you're smiling. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you think about how to make it ongoing. Okay.
Yes.
See, yes, we all need money. Okay, we all need money, but the reason why we need money is to create a life that we like. Okay, you as a young person have been able to start creating the life that you like. And
Yeah.
the money you need, will come.
Yeah.
Right?
I totally agree. Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I really
Wow.
appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. You
So
said something about my parents. I just want to
yeah,
just put a caveat to
yeah,
it. My parents are really, really practical people. My dad is a pastor. My mom is almost like a pastor, right?
yeah,
So when I had this idea, I didn't tell them because I know if I told them, they would tell me, look, so far, finish from the University of Benin. If you want to
yeah.
change the world,
Mhm.
go and change.
Like any other parents. Yeah. Mhm.
Exactly. So I didn't tell them I started off. But when we started off, I was experiencing bottleneck because we didn't have money. I didn't know how to
Yeah.
fundraise. I didn't know how to ask people. One of the very first projects we wanted to do in the early years when Church on the Street started was we wanted to go to communities to give people food item for the Christmas season because that's how we started.
Yeah.
We wanted to give families who don't have food for the holiday seasons food, and we were only able to buy noodles and I think buy what's it called, beverages. We didn't
Yeah.
have rice. We didn't have any of these things. Long story cut short, my own parents give us all the rice that we need to go and give families. My dad called me and said, Itofa, look, I know you guys haven't gotten rice. I'm going to give you people the rice that you need to go and serve these people.
Wow.
Gave us his car, we took his car as volunteers. He gave us the car, gave us the rice, gave us everything. And even my mom came up with us and spent some time with the team, just even encouraged the team, And so this sort of, when you talk about parents supporting the vision,
Yeah.
they really, really played that pivotal role on my journey.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Wow. So now you just told us about your nonprofit. Okay. Before I came to this country, even after I've been here for several years, I didn't actually know much about what nonprofits do. Today, I do. Okay, I work with two. Okay, and I have friends who are in the space, so I know what the impact, the work they do, and the impact of that work uh, to make this society viable. Okay, so but in Africa, most of our people do not actually know what they do. Okay, and we see one foreign NGO will just that come and give us some things. But tell my audience what non-profits, charities, NGOs are supposed to do for the society and why they are important.
Great. Thank you very much. So I haven't been in this space for 4 years. I started consulting on the side because I just had I hated seeing, you go on Instagram, you see people handing out rice or handing out biscuits and Capri to people on the streets. That's dehumanizing. And you record it and you put it, that's very dehumanizing. That's not it. That's not even ethics of, or you see people trying to tell a story of somebody they're helping and they dehumanize the people. The function of a non-profit is supposed to be able to find a niche in the plenty problems in the world.
Yeah.
The United Nations promulgated the 17 SDGs in 2010, where they created 17 goals to be able to make the world a better place. So there's zero hunger, no poverty, gender equality, education, climate action, decent living, up until 17. As a non-profit, you must be able to fit your cause into one of these goals or multiples of these goals. That's number one. Number two, the problem you are solving, you cannot solve a problem based on assumption and presumption. There's what you call community needs assessment, where you engage the relevant stakeholders that involves the people who are going to be benefiting and the people who are going to give you resources. You engage these stakeholders and design a solution that meets their need. A practical case study. We've been working with the IDP camps now in Benue for about going on 3 years. And, when we started off, just trying to support them and do the things we could do. But when we did our community needs assessment, we found out that water was a huge crisis in the community. Families trek 5 miles to get water. The water they get is muddy water to drink.
Wow.
So we thought to ourselves, look. Before we assume that water is all these people need, let's engage them. So I traveled myself and a couple of the team. We traveled by road for 5 hours to Benue State, Abogaji community. We spent, I think, 3 nights in Benue State. We didn't shower for 2 days because it was the most, that was the sacrifice we had to pay to be able to understand the intricate need of this community. And we're able to engage with them. And they gave us advice, told us when to give the water, how to give the water, where to put the water. So you need to, first of all, connect to one or multiple 17 SDGs, understand the problems you're solving, not from a place of assumption or presumption, but by engaging with the relevant stakeholders. And finally, when designing the solution, ensure that you have a sustainable system. It's one thing to give people bread, but you must know how to teach them how to fish. So whatever course you're doing, you need to ask yourself, how does this thing become sustainable? If you pay the tuition of a child for 3 times, how can you make that child continue to go to school? Is it possible you're going to create an after-school system? Is it possible to give the family business grants? Is it possible to open a farmland and cause the families to start to farm so that the children can be in school? So I started a consulting firm, ID Consulting, where I started to work with people who are looking to start, people that are rich, Mr. Ikene. They have so much money and they want to open non-profit in the name of their mother. But because they have a lot of money, they just want to go and be buying cars, buying rice, No. That's why you need to sit with an expert to guide you on how to design something that in 10 years, when you look back in hindsight, you can say, wow, we've done quite a lot. So the role of non-profits in the world really is to cover up the gaps, really not even play the role of the government, really. It's supposed to be a collaborative effort where we work together to make the world a better place. So where the government cannot fill in, we come in to fill that place and the government says, oh, wow, there's a team of young people working in church industry. How can we support you guys? We know we can't cover this aspect, but how can we come in to help you? So we fill in for each other. That's the role. And before you know what, we will indeed build a utopic society. And I believe very well that we're going to get there by the grace of God.
Wow. Well, you guys are doing a good job. But I will tell you, there's no utopic society. And think about it. There's none anywhere.
Well, in reality, there is none. But we can.
Exactly. Okay. Good. So don't think you create paradise on earth because
no, of course not.
It's a recipe of this disaster. So don't do that. But you guys are doing a great job. Okay.
Thank you so much.
And from this, you just told me, even though you are doing non-profit, but you have found a niche that to make money from this by starting a consulting business.
Yes.
All right. See, this is the beauty of doing what you love.
Yeah.
Okay. See, you have found a business, a niche to do business, to sustain you.
Yes.
Okay. Doing your own non-profits and helping other non-profits and being paid for that.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That is fantastic. So tell me, what are the biggest challenges of the people in this space? Okay, what's the biggest challenges for non-profits in our society, and what are the what can everyday people, what can they do to help, if possible?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much. So different non-profits have different needs,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
But from the course of, I mean, just consulting and helping non-profits, it's three things: funding. Funding is number one. Then in terms of structure or human capital, having people who can say, look, every Saturday I'm going to come to the food bank to help, or oh, look, I'm a management consultant. I can help you guys with your auditing for free. Let's work together. We know that you guys are doing some XYZ in this XYZ space. So human capital, we need people like yourself who can say, look, every Saturday, you know what, I'm going to give 2 hours of my time to work with XYZ organization, and this is the skill set I have. So human capital, funding, and finally, just as a collective team, just be able to have a system that allows you to grow. So take, for instance, in Nigeria now, you have things like Leap Africa, the Lagos Business School, that have created resources for non-profits to be able to help them, or scale the work, understand the work that they are doing. So when you see a non-profit that starts for 3 years, and then after 3 years they just zap out of like they disappear.
Existence,
Yeah, it's not because these people are not passionate. Sometimes they are suffocated by result of maybe no funding, people are not helping. But what I would say all the time to people is this: treat your non-profit like it's a for-profit.
Okay.
Yeah, people always have this mindset that it's not for NGO work. No. The way Apple is going to invest in their branding, you need to find creative ways. Maybe not spend that same amount of money, or even spend close, but find creative ways where you can also invest in your branding. The way Coca-Cola will talk about their organization culture, having organization culture. The way company like Google tell you what their plans are going to be in 10, 25 years. Have that blueprint. Don't just, because we are trying to help people, we are trying to save people, so we can just no, don't do that. So many of the non-profits have become source. I mean, you see just like the Red Cross, you see World Central Kitchen, No Kid Hungry, you see Watoto Foundation. These guys have been here for 25 years, 83 years. So founders need to begin to think from this framework that, look, yes, funding, human capital, and just that ability to increase your knowledge bank, they are key factors that destroy lots of non-profits. But founders who are listening to me, or who are eventually going to become founders, this is the frame of mind I want you to have. Think long term. Think long term.
Wow, that's good. That is great. See, I can tell you, listen to you, I can tell you, you have learned so many things outside school. Okay, because you're basically speaking like a business executive.
That's a great honor. Thank you.
You're speaking just like a business executive. That's very good. That means your work has helped you develop so much capacity to be more valuable to your community. I'm so glad to know this. Great. So tell me, do you have any other ongoing projects?
Okay, yes, yes. So we launched my Nigeria Food Bank on the 1st of July 2022. Was when we
Okay.
started Nigeria Food Bank, and it was born out of a passion to really tackle the food insecurity in Nigeria. The work we're doing in Church on the Street, we realized that we couldn't scale it. The model we had come up with was not scalable at the level we wanted to. So we needed an independent structural system that will allow us blow up the work we're doing.
Mm.
And food insecurity is something I'm very passionate about. I don't know if you know what it means to go to bed hungry, Mr. Ekene. Maybe you
well,
probably will not remember.
well,
Yeah, yeah,
I grew up in my grandparents and
yeah,
my uncles
yeah.
were local farmers. Okay,
Mm.
but in my community, they were very successful farmers. So fortunately, I have never
Experience that.
experienced hunger,
Yeah,
even though
great.
I was born in the village.
Yeah, yeah. So food insecurity is a huge challenge, Mr. Ekene. So I talk about the work we do in the IGP camps a lot because it's formed the crucible for many of the conversations that I have, whether it's with I mean people on LinkedIn are reaching out all over the world who want to just engage in a conversation. Um, in in November, I don't know if you've seen that documentary. If you haven't, I probably will send you the link to YouTube where you can watch the documentary of the last community work we had in Benue State.
Oh,
I
please
met two,
send it.
yes,
I want to watch it.
I met two twins, Joseph and Jonathan, 6 months old babies. Their mother she couldn't create breast milk.
Mm.
The the rib cage of these babies could hold water. Their stomach was bloated.
Oh
Their
my
neck was
God.
very lean. These kids were were what you call most at risk children, and there were just two out of 11,000 children in that camp.
Wow.
What did we do? What did I do? I knew I couldn't even express. The first thing I did was like, please, 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 we need to put the story out there quickly. We need to get as much help and support. To the glory of God, we're able to get people who jumped in on it. And right now, the babies are doing very well. The family is
Oh,
doing very well. The
very
mother is
good.
healthy. Medically, they are doing very well. But then you ask again the question like, what are we currently doing? So I started my Nigeria Food Bank 1st of July. The idea is we want to close um the food insecurity in Nigeria. We call ourselves the first mobile food bank for local schools. I'm passionate about education. How do we marry education and food security for children? There are children that I'm telling you that they have a passion to learn, but because they wake up every morning, they have to go and find a way to fend for their families, and they have to throw school away. So we don't have that resources yet, but it's my dream, it's my passion, and it will happen where we're going to be able to identify schools in rural communities where we're going to be able to adopt children who we know very well that um, we can marry them into our feeding program. And the
Yeah.
idea is not just to provide food for them. The idea is to increase their retention rate in school.
Yeah.
Um, three in five children in rural communities don't stay in school because of hunger. So
Yeah.
what if we can intercept that gap and then introduce what you call after school clubs or weekend classes where we can begin to teach these children things about leadership, teach these children things about career development, teach these children things about like what's your passion. We've gone beyond from the traditional route of becoming medical doctors, lawyers. As great as these professions are, the world is evolving, it's turning into a global village. How do we begin to introduce things like STEM education to these children in rural communities? So the vision for my Nigeria Food Bank is where education meets food. So it's a recent project we currently have now, and we are doing a pilot with the IDP camp here in Abuja where they have a dilapidated primary school there where children learn from the window. They use a blackboard. There is no roof. They don't even have
Wow.
chairs inside. And what we're trying to say is how do we crowdfund, create a system where these children can learn? And in order for that stuff not to be ruined, train educators inside the IDP camp who can now lead the projects. We are not in the picture. They can
Mm.
teach the children. We can just come and monitor and evaluate the project. So that's what we're currently working on. And for anyone who's listening, who's passionate about education and looking to help, I'll be more than happy to get on a
Yeah.
conversation with you.
Mm. Mm. Wow. See, uh, there are so many things we need to do in Nigeria and the rest of Africa. So many things. So people like yourself have a lot of work to do. I hope our governments would do their own part, okay? Because yes, you are non-profits are trying to cover some of the things that the governments cannot do, but the work of non-profits like yours is minuscule to the work that the government can do. Okay. I just hope our governments will play their own part so that they can leave the smaller bits for you guys to follow up with and make the society a lot better, you know. Yeah. So our continent has a lot of young people like you, okay, but we also know that a lot of young people like you are not in employment, are not doing much.
Yeah.
Okay. But there's something they can do.
Yeah.
To make themselves valuable to themselves and to their community.
Yes.
So what's your advice to young people like yourself?
Yeah. I think it's important, first of all, that we don't throw the baby and the bathwater away together, because yes, Nigeria as a country, we have incredible young people. I mean, I'm currently doing my NYSC, and I get to engage with a lot of young people from across the different nations, even from people who came all the way from the United States and the United Kingdom to do your NYSC. But Nigeria puts you in a survival mode, and when you're in survival mode, you cannot create. When you're in survival mode, you cannot create. And that's the condition Nigeria has programmed you to be. So in order for you to be valuable, like you mentioned, Mr. Ekene, you need to think without a box, not outside a box. You need to think without a box, right? Every time they say think outside of a box, the question is, who even created the box in the first place for us to think outside of? So my advice to every young person is for them to consistently look inwards. Don't look outward. Because if you look outward, what it does is that it impacts how you see the world. The poverty rate in Nigeria is alarming. When you talk of poverty, the World Bank defines poverty living below $1.90. There are people living, if you won't have $1 right now is 715 naira. You now say 90 cents on top. We're talking of 1,500. That's probably somebody's minimum wage somewhere. So my encouragement to any young person who's listening to me now, I am in Nigeria, I live in Nigeria, I've had the privilege with God's help, but I want to say this to everybody who is listening to me, that look, stop looking outward and start looking inwards. A great mentor once said to me, he said, Itofa, all that you currently have left is all that you need. And I just want to say this to everybody. You may say, I don't have money, I don't have relationships, I don't have anything, but I want you to know that right where you are, you have something.
Okay.
You have something. It may be skill sets, it may be an incredible project management skill, it may even be consulting that you just haven't harnessed very well, it may be great speaking skill, it may be just passion for non-for-profit, whatever it is, but you have something. That's the first point. Then the second point of call I want to say to young people these days, invest in human capital development. In 2020, I read 16 books.
Very good.
I read 16
see me
books.
Smiling? See me smiling?
Yes,
I love, see, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I read 60, and I'm not just saying this to brag, I'm just saying this
to
just let
it's important you're saying this. Yes.
Yeah. It's important for you that you cannot, there are certain conversations you cannot have on the upper echelon if you don't know certain subject. If you bring me and say, let's talk about Coca-Cola CEO, let's talk about the Apple, let's talk about what's happening in the aviation, I'm going to tell you because I've read books that have broken down their marketing strategy, talk about branding, talk about I can I can have a conversation with you.
Yeah.
And that alone separates you already from the crowd, separates you from the pack. So for young people, I want you to invest in increasing your value. Buy books and read the books, please. If you YouTube channels, find things, watch TED Talks, listen to incredible podcasts like Mr. Kenny, listen to people who are having conversations that disrupt your internal programming, that causes you to, man, like, what have I been doing in my life? What is going on? I have a friend called Shei Morejo. Shei Morejo is only 21 years old. She's the founder of Your Recycle Initiative. Just recently, CNN did a feature story on her, just because they wanted to see what she was doing in Nigeria. And she's only in her 3rd year at University of Lagos. And she's doing the kind of stuff she's doing. And she's in Nigeria. She's not living in Jamaica or South Africa. She's in this Nigeria with all of us. So I want to encourage more people, young people, that please, you're not disadvantaged. That's the very first point of call. You're a global asset. You're a global solution. That's my frame of mind. I don't call myself a Nigerian. I call myself a global citizen. Have that frame of mind so that anywhere you find yourself, you don't have a survival mindset. Oh my God, what can I take from Mr. Ikene now? Question mark, what can I give to you? What value can I bring to the table for you? When you alter this frame of mind, or you've created this frame of mind, what happens is that you begin to attract things to your life that people who are living in that survival state cannot create, because they are thinking about survival. So that's my advice to any young Nigerian at the moment.
Wow. This is fantastic. See, unfortunately, it's difficult for a lot of young people who are in survival mode to listen to this kind of talk and digest it. Okay. But we need to continue preaching the gospel. Okay. Because sometime, for any reason, their minds might be open to listen. See, if you look at every country that is developed, okay, first, I will say this, and I want my audience to learn this. None of those countries were developed by the government. People who had desired dreams, and many of them came from poverty. In fact, the majority came from poverty. In those days, only kings and lords were in opulence, had money. The rest of the society were poor. Okay. And many of the people who created these global companies that everybody knows came from the ordinary citizens.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's why it's good for us to read and learn the stories of other people.
Yes, sir.
See,
yes, sir.
No matter where you are, no matter what is going on with you, yes, at that time that thing's going on with you, it's horrible. It's devastating. But the truth is of matter is this. This kind of things have happened to other people in the past. And we can learn from the way they handled it to bring themselves out of their situations. And that's why it's important to read. Okay. And if we continue keeping ourselves, closing our eyes to the stories of other people, we'll stay in our situations longer than necessary. You know, so thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to add something.
Yeah,
The current CEO of Google, his name is Sundar Pichai.
yeah.
When I read his story, I was blown away. How
Mm,
did an ordinary Indian boy who had a passion to do electrical engineering or metallurgical engineering, go from, and whose father was just an ordinary teacher and the mother
yeah,
was barely even getting by, extreme poverty. They didn't have TV sets.
yeah,
Go from that point, from that place, to becoming the current CEO of Google. Google's market cap value is over $1 trillion
yeah.
I think last month's Business Insider report. So what changed? He had a
Mindset.
solution-driven mindset. When
Yeah.
he met Larry Page and Sergey Brin at Stanford University, it was because he was thinking solution, thinking solution. There's a psychological phenomenon called the Pygmalion effect. You create what you see in your mind.
Yeah.
Your mind can, what you, you know, I don't want to go, but basically that's
Yeah.
just
Yeah. See, everything that human beings have created in this world started in someone's mind. Everything, no matter what it is, good or bad, everything we have created in this world started in someone's mind. And that's it. It goes from the mind, thinking about it, and manifesting it. Anyway, Itofa, it has been a very interesting time to speak to you. So, my last question: as a young African, Africa is for you. Okay. So, what is your vision for Africa in the next 30 years' time?
So in 30 years, I'm going to be 55 years old.
Okay.
So at 55 years old, I want to see an Africa where we've stopped being dependent, and so many narrative that Africans are, we can't do, we need help from the Western world, we need all of those things should stop. Yeah, we know that they are, in terms of economics, they are developed and all that stuff, but I want to see an Africa where, where it's African by African for Africans, where we're able to do things that are moving the needle in the continent, where I could go to South Africa and engage with South Africa and see what the work they're doing and bring that same thing to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I want to see Africa where we can improve, our GDP has improved. I want to see Africa where we can create our own, we don't even need to have our own Silicon Valley. We can create another industry that is by Africa. I want to see an Africa where white supremacy has stopped, where people don't feel like, yeah, white supremacy. I was having a conversation with a friend recently, and I was saying to her that, have you noticed that we now have cartoons that you have black children inside the cartoons? There were times when you haven't had cartoon characters where there were black people in cartoon characters. What was happening to us subconsciously was the fact that you kind of felt like these people are supreme. Jesus is white. Is Jesus white, Mr. Kenny? Is Jesus white?
No, Jesus cannot be white if Jesus grew up in the Middle East 2,000 years ago.
Hey, Jesus is white, Mary is white, Joseph is white. So you realize that subconsciously something happened. It has impacted the continent. People don't believe in themselves, even though we have a few people who have broken out of that mold, thank God. So I want to see an Africa where, look, in 30 years, we have built industries. We have become self-sufficient to be able to help the Western world. Africa is one continent where we've preserved culture. We've been able to preserve culture. We have values. Yes, we may be religious set of people, but look, we have values in the continent. Values keep us, values help us to bond collectively. So in Africa, where in 30 years we have great GDP, great GNP, we are doing incredible stuff. There's global collaboration. We have industries that we have created. Young people can, right now in Nigeria, the Japa syndrome is on the high. And I also have an issue with Japa. I don't know if we have the time to talk about it, but I just want to say, look, if you are leaving Nigeria with a Japa mentality, you are entering survival mode. do not leave Nigeria or try to leave any country you are in using with a Japa mentality. Wherever you go to, you would replicate the mindset you have. I like to call it global mobility, have global expression, not Japa. Why you so so that's my dream for Africa, really, Mr. Ekene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it can't. I don't want to use the word utopic again, but it's really yeah.
Well, see, you have great vision for Africa, and that's great. Now, I will say this: the white supremacy. You saw me roll my eyes. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Very good. See, there's a reason. You talk about not seeing blacks in the cartoons you watch. The cartoon was made where? Okay. If we want to see people like us in our TV, let's make it.
Dude,
The drama you watch, the sitcom I watched as a young, the Nigerian sitcoms I watched as a young person, everybody was black. Everybody was Nigerian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If we watch programs from the West, most of the people in those programs would be white.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Now, I'm not saying that white supremacy is not real. Yeah, it was once real. For me, right now, white supremacy in Africa or amongst Africans, is basic for me, is basically created in our own minds.
Yes. And that's the point I was trying to communicate.
Okay.
That's the point I was communicating.
So for me, I don't see a white person and think they're better than me, because I know they're not.
Never. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I know they're not. Okay. So I don't see any one of them and say, oh, that nah. It doesn't see, it doesn't occur to me. Okay. And the more we talk about these things, the more we perpetuate it amongst us. So I choose not to talk about it. Is there racism? Yes. But it doesn't stop me from doing whatever I want to do. You get it? Absolutely. So that's my take.
Yeah, love it. An elders, it's called an elder's wisdom.
So I'm so happy to talk to you today. You are doing incredible work, and I can see your work expanding exponentially within the next decade. So I thank you very much for your work. And I thank you for being a great guest of Think Big for Africa podcast.
Thank you. My absolute honor and pleasure. I can't wait to even listen to this.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.